Welcome, my favorite people, the rare gems. Being a Sigma female isn't about fitting into anyone's expectations. It's about standing firm in your own truth. You're the type of woman who refuses to play by anyone else's rules, and that makes you a force to be reckoned with. Enemies, whether subtle manipulators or outright challengers, often underestimate your depth, and that's where your genius truly shines. You don't outsmart others by being loud or confrontational. You do it with grace, strategy, and an almost unshakable calm. Your mind works differently. You see angles most people overlook, and you're not afraid to leverage that insight to protect your peace and stand your ground. This video is for you, to celebrate your brilliance and remind you of the quiet power you hold. Each of these 10 strategies highlights how your unique mindset not only confuses your enemies but also sets you apart. Watch to the end and let these insights inspire you to embrace the unstoppable Sigma within. Stay tuned and let's dive in. Number 1. Feigning ignorance. Feigning ignorance is an art that Sigma females have mastered to perfection. It's not about pretending to be clueless for the sake of it, far from it. This strategy is deliberate, calculated, and highly effective. When faced with someone who underestimates them, a Sigma female knows that playing naive can be the ultimate power move. It creates an illusion that she's not aware of what's really going on, while in reality she's absorbing every detail, piecing together motives and planning her next step. This approach throws enemies off balance. People who think they're the smartest in the room tend to overplay their hand when they believe they're dealing with someone less capable. Sigma females allow them to believe that, carefully luring them into a false sense of control. But behind the scenes, they're silently observing, gathering information and anticipating the next move with surgical precision. What makes this tactic so effective is its unpredictability. Most people are used to power struggles being obvious and confrontational. But when someone appears disinterested or unaware, their adversary often assumes there's nothing to worry about. That's the moment when a Sigma female flips the dynamic entirely, revealing she's been 10 steps ahead all along. Feigning ignorance also protects their energy. By not engaging in unnecessary conflict or exposing their true capabilities too soon, Sigma females conserve their strength for when it matters most. They don't waste time proving themselves to people who don't deserve it. Instead, they stay focused, letting others misjudge them while they quietly take control. It's a move that's as subtle as it is powerful, a quiet way to turn underestimation into an advantage and confusion into an ally. And it's one of the many reasons Sigma females are impossible to outwit. Number 2. Outpacing emotional triggers. Outpacing emotional triggers is where Sigma females truly shine. They've mastered the art of staying calm under pressure, even when someone is deliberately trying to provoke them. It's not because they don't feel emotions. They do, and deeply. But they've learned how to separate feeling from reacting, turning emotional control into their greatest strength. Enemies often rely on emotional traps to throw people off balance. A sarcastic comment, a passive-aggressive jab, or even outright hostility is designed to elicit a knee-jerk reaction. Most people fall right into the trap, allowing anger or frustration to cloud their judgment. But Sigma females see these provocations coming a mile away. Instead of reacting, they step back and analyze the situation like a puzzle. What's the intent? What's the endgame? And most importantly, how can they remain in control? This ability to stay composed frustrates their enemies to no end. People who thrive on drama or manipulation hate being met with indifference. They expect chaos, but what they get is a calm, calculated response or no response at all. Sigma females don't feed the fire, they extinguish it by refusing to give it oxygen. By outpacing emotional triggers, they shift the power dynamic completely. The enemy loses control of the narrative while the Sigma female remains steady, unshaken, and in command. This approach isn't just about keeping the peace. It's about protecting their energy and priorities. They don't let temporary emotions derail their long-term goals. What sets them apart is their ability to stay one step ahead, always anticipating the game and refusing to play it on anyone else's terms. It's a skill that leaves their enemies powerless, proving once again why Sigma females are impossible to manipulate or defeat. Number 3. Absorbing pressure like a sponge. Absorbing pressure like a sponge is one of the most defining traits of a Sigma female. While others might crack or lash out under stress, Sigmas remain calm, composed, and unshaken, no matter how much is thrown their way. This unrelenting resilience doesn't come from an absence of emotion, but from their ability to master it. They've trained themselves to take in even the most intense pressure without letting it disrupt their focus or stability. Enemies often rely on stress or manipulation to unnerve their targets, hoping for an emotional outburst or a rash decision. But when faced with a Sigma, their tactics fall flat. Instead of reacting impulsively, Sigmas take everything in, processing it internally without revealing a single crack. Their silence and composure are unnerving, leaving their enemies confused and frustrated. How do you fight someone who refuses to give you any leverage? This ability to absorb pressure isn't about suppression, it's about transformation. Sigmas use the weight of external forces to strengthen themselves. Every attempt to push them down becomes fuel for their inner growth. They channel the stress into clarity, using it to sharpen their focus and refine their strategy. What was meant to break them ends up fortifying them instead. For their enemies, this resilience is both baffling and infuriating. They expect to see signs of wear, anger, fear, or desperation, but instead they're met with an unyielding calm that makes them question their own tactics. It's not just frustrating, it's disempowering. By absorbing pressure like a sponge, Sigmas maintain control, protect their energy, and turn every challenge into an opportunity. It's a quiet but powerful display of strength that leaves their opponents bewildered and powerless, proving once again that Sigma females are built to thrive under any circumstances. Number 4. Reverse manipulation. Reverse manipulation is a psychological art that Sigma females have mastered, turning the tables on manipulators without ever engaging in direct confrontation. They understand that fighting manipulation head-on often plays into the manipulator's hands. So instead of resisting outright, they let the manipulator feel like they're in control, subtly guiding the situation to their advantage. This strategy begins with observation. Sigma females take the time to understand their opponent's tactics, motivations, and patterns. Once they have a clear picture, they flip the script. They play along just enough to make the manipulator believe their strategies are working, all the while nudging the situation in a direction that benefits the Sigma. By the time the manipulator realizes what's happening, they're ensnared in their own web, with the Sigma female firmly in control. What makes this approach so powerful is its elegance. Sigmas don't need to shout, confront, or expose the manipulator outright. They avoid the messy drama altogether, choosing instead to outthink their opponent in silence. This not only keeps the Sigma's energy intact, but also leaves the manipulator bewildered, wondering how they lost control of the very game they thought they were winning. This tactic also dismantles the manipulator's power. Manipulators thrive on predictability and emotional reactions, but Sigmas give them neither. By staying calm, composed, and unreadable, they deprive their opponent of the feedback they need to adjust their strategies. It's like pulling the rug out from under someone without them even noticing. Reverse manipulation isn't about playing dirty. It's about protecting oneself while exposing the futility of deceitful tactics. Sigma females turn manipulation into a mirror, forcing their opponents to face the consequences of their own actions. It's a quiet, calculated victory, achieved with intelligence and unshakable self-control. Number 5. Adopting the role of the observer. Adopting the role of the observer is one of the sharpest tools in a Sigma female's arsenal. Rather than diving headfirst into situations, they take a step back and watch. While others rush to speak, act, or reveal their intentions, Sigma females quietly collect information, analyze behavior, and assess vulnerabilities. It's a strategy of patience and precision, one that ensures they are fully prepared before making their move. This approach works because people often reveal more than they realize, especially when they feel unchallenged. Sigma females understand this and allow their enemies to unknowingly expose their weaknesses, patterns, and true intentions. The less they engage, the more their adversaries reveal, giving Sigmas a detailed map of what they're up against. While others play checkers, they're laying the groundwork for chess. What makes this strategy even more powerful is its disarming nature. Enemies often misinterpret the Sigma's silence as passivity or lack of awareness. They assume they're in control, failing to realize that every move they make is being catalogued and dissected. This illusion of dominance gives Sigmas an even greater advantage. They strike only when their chances of success are near absolute. Observation also keeps Sigma females emotionally detached. By watching instead of reacting, they avoid being drawn into unnecessary conflicts or emotional traps. They conserve their energy, maintaining clarity and focus while others exhaust themselves in pointless battles. When the time comes to act, the Sigma female does so with surgical precision. Every move is calculated, every step purposeful. Her enemies, blindsided by her foresight and preparation, are left scrambling, wondering how she gained such an upper hand. By adopting the role of the observer, Sigma females turn patience into power and silence into one of their greatest weapons. We appreciate you, Rare Gems, for being a treasured subscriber. Your consistent support is vital to us and fuels our passion for delivering meaningful content. Thank you for your engagement and encouragement. Number 6. Strategic kindness. Strategic kindness is a weapon that's often underestimated, but Sigma females wield it with incredible precision. Unlike superficial gestures meant to impress, their kindness is calculated, deliberate, and layered with intent. They understand that kindness, when used unexpectedly, can be one of the most disarming tools in their arsenal. It throws people off, especially those who come with bad intentions or hidden agendas. When someone expects resistance or confrontation and instead receives an act of generosity or understanding, it creates a moment of confusion. It forces the other person to pause and reevaluate their position. This momentary disorientation is where a Sigma female gains the upper hand. Her kindness isn't about weakness or naivety. It's about steering the emotional dynamic of the situation. She controls the narrative without anyone even realizing it. More importantly, strategic kindness reflects a higher level of emotional intelligence. Sigma females don't waste energy on unnecessary hostility. They know how to use soft power to diffuse tension, win allies, or even leave their enemies questioning their own motives. This approach also reveals their unshakable self-confidence. They don't feel the need to stoop to petty levels or engage in pointless battles to prove their strength. But make no mistake, this kindness is not an invitation to take advantage of them. It's a test, a mirror held up to the other person's character. Those who respond with gratitude earn their respect. Those who see it as an opportunity to manipulate quickly find themselves outmaneuvered. Strategic kindness isn't just about confusing enemies. It's about maintaining control of the situation on their own terms. It's a subtle yet powerful move that showcases their depth, maturity, and the unique way they navigate life with both strength and grace. Number 7. Living in the long game. Living in the long game is where Sigma females truly separate themselves from the rest. They're not interested in petty victories or proving a point in the heat of the moment. While most people are busy chasing instant gratification or reacting impulsively, Sigmas are silently playing the long game. They understand that real power lies in patience, observation, and timing. When faced with enemies, Sigma females don't rush into retaliation or get caught up in emotional battles. Instead, they take a step back, study the situation, and gather as much information as possible. They analyze their opponent's patterns, weaknesses, and motivations, all while staying calm and composed. This calculated approach confuses their enemies, who often expect immediate reactions. Instead, they find themselves dealing with someone who seems unaffected and unshaken, which throws them off balance. Sigmas are masters at waiting for the right moment. They don't waste their energy on battles they know won't matter in the long run. They strike only when the odds are overwhelmingly in their favor, ensuring that their actions are decisive and effective. This patience isn't just about winning, it's about protecting their time, energy, and peace. What truly sets Sigma females apart is their ability to think several steps ahead. While others are focused on the now, Sigmas are already envisioning the bigger picture. This foresight allows them to not just overcome challenges, but to turn them into opportunities for growth and advancement. Living in the long game means they're always in control, never swayed by temporary setbacks or distractions. Their enemies may try to provoke them or gain quick wins, but in the end it's the Sigma female who emerges victorious, calm, collected, and miles ahead of the competition. Number 8. Building detours and dead ends. Building detours and dead ends is a strategy Sigma females use to keep their enemies chasing shadows. They understand that the easiest way to stay ahead is to control where others direct their attention. Instead of fighting battles head-on, they craft distractions so convincing that their enemies waste time and energy pursuing illusions, never realizing how far off course they've been led. Sigmas are masters of subtle misdirection. They might drop a casual comment, hint at a false intention, or provide just enough irrelevant information to set their enemies on a wild goose chase. These distractions aren't random. They're carefully designed to appear credible while keeping their true motives hidden. By the time the enemy realizes they've been chasing a dead end, the Sigma has already moved several steps ahead. This tactic isn't just about confusing their enemies, it's about efficiency. Sigmas know that energy is a finite resource, and they refuse to waste theirs on unnecessary confrontations. Instead, they redirect the conflict, letting their opponents exhaust themselves while they remain focused on their true goals. What makes this strategy so effective is the psychological toll it takes. When enemies repeatedly hit walls or discover that their efforts have been in vain, frustration sets in, doubts creep in, and their confidence starts to crumble. Meanwhile, the Sigma female operates in the shadows, quietly and methodically working toward her objectives without interference. This level of mental chess requires intelligence, patience, and an unshakable sense of control, all qualities that define a Sigma female. By building detours and dead ends, she ensures her path remains clear while her enemies are left stumbling in the dark, never able to catch up to her true intentions. It's clever, calculated, and undeniably effective. Number 9. Turning obsession into exhaustion. Turning obsession into exhaustion is one of the most masterful moves in the Sigma female playbook. Enemies often fall into the trap of fixating on the Sigma, trying to understand them, predict their next move, or figure out their strategy. They become so consumed with trying to unravel the enigma that they end up exhausting themselves in the process. Meanwhile, the Sigma female remains calm, composed, and unaffected, refusing to give her enemies the material they need to form any real understanding of her. This tactic works because Sigma females understand the power of scarcity. The less they reveal about themselves, the more their enemies are left scrambling for clues, searching for patterns, and trying to gain control over a situation they don't fully grasp. Sigma females stay one step ahead by withholding information, keeping their motives and actions unpredictable, and never giving their enemies enough to latch onto. They create a void that their enemies are desperate to fill, but the harder they try, the further away they get from the truth. While their enemies waste energy chasing shadows, the Sigma female remains unaffected, watching from a distance as their obsession turns into a draining, fruitless pursuit. This not only exhausts her enemies mentally and emotionally, but it also prevents them from ever making any significant moves against her. They become so focused on the mystery that they lose sight of the bigger picture. By the time they realize they've been running in circles, it's already too late. The Sigma female, composed and undisturbed, has already achieved her goal without ever breaking a sweat. Number 10. Shattering expectations. Shattering expectations is where Sigma females truly shine. They have an uncanny ability to defy the norms, taking paths others wouldn't dare to tread, whether it's through making an unexpected decision, acting in a way that no one saw coming, or simply refusing to fit into the narrow box society tries to place them in. Sigma females constantly surprise and disorient their enemies. They are the last people anyone can predict, and that unpredictability is their greatest weapon. What makes this so effective is the mental fog it creates for their opponents. People rely on patterns to predict behavior, but Sigma females dismantle that predictability with every move. While others operate within established boundaries, Sigma females break through them, forcing their enemies to constantly readjust and second-guess themselves. This sense of confusion and uncertainty gives Sigma females the upper hand. They thrive in chaos while others flounder. By refusing to be stereotyped, Sigma females make it impossible for anyone to label or control them. They don't play by the rules others set because they create their own. This defiance isn't just a form of rebellion, it's a strategic tool. When people can't figure you out, they lose their grip on the situation. And when they can't anticipate your next move, they're left vulnerable to whatever surprise you throw at them. Sigma females aren't bound by anyone's expectations but their own. They know that true power lies in being unpredictable, refusing to conform, and keeping their enemies on their toes at all times. This constant shattering of expectations is what sets them apart. It makes them a force that's nearly impossible to beat. In the end, being a Sigma female is about more than just outsmarting or confusing others. It's about embracing your inner strength and using it with quiet, calculated precision. The traits we've discussed aren't just clever tactics. They're reflections of a mindset that values patience, resilience, and intelligence over chaos and noise. Sigma females understand that true power comes from mastering oneself and staying 3 steps ahead, all while letting the world believe they're just going with the flow. You, as a Sigma female, are equipped with a unique ability to read the room, assess situations, and use the information to your advantage without needing to prove anything. You don't need to shout your brilliance from the rooftops because your actions speak louder than words. You know how to move in silence, how to let others reveal their weaknesses, and how to use your calm and strategic mindset to turn the tables in your favor. You are the master of your own game. So, if you resonate with these qualities, remember that you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And there's more where that came from. If you want to dive deeper into the world of Sigma females and discover how to sharpen your strategy even more, make sure to watch the full video. You've got this, and the world is only starting to see what you're capable of. Keep stepping forward with confidence. You're a force to be reckoned with. Take care and see you in our next video. God bless.